Today's story is about Moses, and we need to remember three things when we tell a story like this. The first is that there's no face on Moses, so you get to imagine him, maybe with white hair, maybe taller, maybe shorter. However Moses works in your mind, that's what you want to imagine on this little face. And scale doesn't matter, so a Moses this big might have a desert cat following him, or sitting somewhere on the desert beside him that's this big. And that doesn't make sense at all. But again, you have to make it make sense using your imagination. And finally, we bring our stories to us with a song. Bible, Bible, tell your stories, speak to us about God's glory. There's so much we need to know. Tell us how God loves us so. This is a Moses story. Moses had a tough job. He led the people out of slavery in Egypt, but he leads them into the desert. He's taking them to the promised land, but it's going to be 40 years before they get there. That's a lifetime for some short-lived people and a long time for everybody. And there are a lot of people. And there's not much food. And there's not much water. And it's just hard going for everyone. And our Moses is leading them on across the desert. And just like kids in the back seat of a hot car, the people get anxious. In fact, the people get crabby. They start complaining. First, they start bad-mouthing Moses, saying, we shouldn't have followed him. Why'd we come out here? And then they start bad-mouthing God. They say, well, maybe we don't believe in God anymore. All he's done is taken us out to the desert and left us here. Oh, goodness. God hears him. And according to the Bible, he sends poisonous snakes. And some of the Israelites are bitten by the poisonous snakes, and when they're bitten, they die. Whoa, dead Israelites all over the desert. That's not good. Well, the ones who are left run to Moses and say, Moses, you gotta talk to God for us, because this isn't good at all. A lot of people are dead from the snakes, and they're scared. Of course they are. Well, Moses goes off and he talks to God. And God says, all right, I'll save the people again. What you need to do, Moses, is build a snake made out of bronze and put it up. And anyone who has been bitten, all they have to do is look at this snake that you've made and that you've put up in the desert. And if they just look at it, they'll be healed. There it is, the bronze snake in the desert. And so it is. The people who are facing poisonous snakes just look at the bronze statue and they're healed. That's the end of our story. It's a very quick story this week. What's our takeaway? We have a lot of wandering going on right now. We have Moses leading people into the desert for 40 years. We have Jesus going toward the end of his life, which will be on Good Friday, and then the raising up on Easter behind it. But Jesus is in the middle of his ministry. And remember, Jesus went into the wilderness for 40 days before he ever started his ministry. And we are in the middle of our own wilderness in Lent. We're in our 40-day period, and it might be dark. At this time in our lives, at this time for the people on the desert, at this time for anyone who's given up hope, we need a light. we need to turn toward the light. We need to have something that we can turn toward. I don't know if God really got crabby back at the people, but I think maybe there were some poisonous snakes in the desert that did kill some Israelites. But I think the important takeaway for today is that it only took one person to talk with God and bring a light of hope. Only one person. So in this story, it's Moses. And in our Jesus story, it's Jesus. And today, where we're all fighting a COVID, maybe it's that person who developed a vaccine who brought the light to all of us in a dark time. Maybe someday, the person who brings the light to a desert of hopelessness will be you. Amen. Bible, Bible, tell your stories, speak to us about God's glory. There's so much we need to know. Tell us how God loves us so.